I started with NASA in 1998. I was detailed. I was in the Air Force. I was an Air Force officer for 27 years. Retired from the Air Force and was hired as Chief Medical Officer of NASA in 2002. But my last assignment in the Air Force was to headquarters NASA. Started in 1998. And when I got here, I came out of mainstream medical practice. I had been a surgeon for many years, and I was very familiar with healthcare administration and medical care management and the superstructure, if you will, both in the military and the civilian world that drives that system of audits and certifications and accreditations and quality assurance of medical care. And what I found was that in NASA, the healthcare was so mission driven that all attention had really been levied toward the care and the mission and the crew and itself. And the usual infrastructure that you would find for medical quality assurance didn't exist. So one of the first things we did when I became Chief Medical Officer and formed my little team was to develop medical quality assurance policy and put in place a watchdog system, if you will, standards of medical care system that the agency has operated on or under for the past 2 decades, really. And that system would stand external review. Has it improved practice? I can't really say that it has. You know, space medicine is a very unique entity. But I will say if we did have an untoward event, we have mechanisms in place, an untoward healthcare event, we have mechanisms in place to thoroughly evaluate that now. And those mechanisms in our infrastructure would stand scrutiny, I think, if audited or investigated by any entity on the planet. So that's the kind of the first contribution I made. After that, we developed very close personal relationships with colleagues at the Johnson Space Center and at the Kennedy Space Center and here at headquarters, both in life sciences and in healthcare practice. We agreed between leadership at Johnson Space Center and here at headquarters in the medical world. We recognized that we were a team, and I'm not saying that our predecessors didn't recognize that, but we very much did. We recognized the relationship between research and medical practice that we talked about earlier with the standards to requirements to deliverables circle, if you will. We collaborated and learned to express that in systems engineering terms. We built a healthcare system that is collaborative, and the organization of which could be easily recognized and appreciated by program managers. And I think that approach, and one of the things that drove us to do that was the recommendation from the Institute of Medicine in a publication called Safe Passage. They actually evaluated our healthcare system in the year 2000, the Institute of Medicine did. They evaluated our healthcare system and its suitability to support a mission to Mars. So in the year 2000, when Space Shuttle was at its height and International Space Station was in its formative stages, a couple of modules had been launched. We were looking ahead to a Mars mission even at that time. And their recommendation that we take an occupational health approach to astronaut health care, we took to heart. And that resulted in translation of our whole system to a configuration that is collaborative, mutually supportive, and integrated, and then the effort with that continues to this day, integrated with programs and engineering as much as we can. So I think that was a sentinel accomplishment. And I think indeed if we had not done that, I don't know if our engineering and safety colleagues would have been comfortable vesting us with technical authority. That's a big that's a big authority, and I think in no small measure our work gained us the credibility to be able to exercise that responsibly.